talk about how much money I spent on my first ever Carnival cruise on board the Carnival Jubilee. Now sit back and relax because I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I spent a pretty penny. Alright y'all, let's start with transportation. So I spent $30 on a round trip ticket on the LIRR, then I spent $17 for the air train to get to JFK, then I spent $332.57 on both of my flights. I spent $220 on my returning Uber from JFK after the cruise was over because I was not taking the train. And then I spent $58.99 on my airport transfer through Carnival from Galveston. Now for my hotel stay for the one night that I was in Houston, it cost $114.30. Surprisingly, this is one of the cheaper things that I did spend money on for this cruise. And now listen, y'all not about to jump me because I'm a grown adult, but I spent $86 at Buc-ee's, and no, I am not ashamed. I spent every single dollar happily, and I'll do it again. Now for the price of the cruise itself, including tips, it cost $1,759.65 for me as a solo traveler. Now, two things to keep in mind are, one, Carnival does still charge a single supplement fee for solo travelers, and then on top of that, they did include some specialty dining for free because it was inaugural season. For an additional $148.75, I did add on the Wi-Fi package. As a content creator, it was kind of necessary. And then for Carnival's Cheers package, which is their unlimited alcohol package, I spent $424.45. This gave me access to alcoholic beverages, milkshakes, iced teas. Honestly, y'all, it was amazing and I loved it. During this cruise, we did do an excursion. We went to Mr. Sancho's, which is an awesome beach club located in Cozumel, Mexico. And for their all-inclusive package, as well as taxis, it cost about $80 for myself. At the end of the cruise, I spent about $80 on gifts for myself and for Mandy and my girl Courtney. So that brings out a total of $3,351.78 for the entire cruise on board the Carnival Jubilee for myself. Y'all, that's a lot of money. I had an amazing time with Carnival, and honestly, y'all, if I had to spend the money again, I would.
What time of year should you avoid sailing to the Caribbean? I'm Melanie and I post daily travel deals and tips to help you plan your perfect vacations. Follow along so you don't miss anything. You're going to find Caribbean cruises being offered every month of the year. January and February are going to have some of the best deals on Caribbean cruises. Weather is likely going to be a little bit colder, but you're still in the Caribbean, so it's not going to be unbearable, and it's actually probably going to feel pretty pleasant, and you probably will still be able to swim. In March and April, you will find nice weather, warmer temperatures, but spring break will cause an increase in both prices and crowds. May and June will be hot, but typically a little less crowded and a little less expensive than spring break or the summer months. You will find hot weather in July and August, typically in the 90s, and there will be an uptick in crowds while schools are out for summer vacation. And due to this uptick in demand, prices are normally a little bit higher during these months. September and October normally have lower crowd levels because children have returned to school, and temperatures will be slightly lower around the mid-70s to 80s. November and December will see an increase in crowds around the holidays. The week of Thanksgiving and Christmas break will see some of the highest cruise pricing there is. Weather during these months will be about low 70s to mid 80s. Hurricane season starts in June and goes through November. So, are there months to avoid cruising? It all depends on what's important to you. Do you have a cruise coming up? Let me know, and let me know if you have any other cruise questions, and I'll try to get them answered.
Wait, so this is free? This is
Yes, it is.
So we don't have to pay for any of this? This is steak though.
Yeah, we don't have to pay for it.
What about this?
It's free.
So we just leave?
Yeah.
Right now, just leave.
Come on in.
Yeah, come on in. Check it out. Yo, there's somebody here. Yo, there's somebody's gears in our room. This is crazy. Hold on. Yo, somebody's gear is in our fucking room. This is crazy. This is fucking crazy. Oh, these people sitting here. Yo.
I'm a little concerned right now, I'm not gonna lie. security.
So why did no one actually tell me a cruise is low-key boring as hell? Guys, what the fuck is there actually to do on a freaking cruise? Like literally other than eating, sleeping, and walking around and getting off of the cruise, what is there actually to do when you're like on the cruise? So it's only day 3 of my cruise and I'm actually bored out of my mind. And today we were supposed to land on some dock, but then the weather conditions were too bad or whatever, so they literally decided to skip the dock and we just stayed at sea all fucking day. And tomorrow we have an all-day sea day as well, so I genuinely don't know what the fuck to do. And also the Wi-Fi is so expensive for what? And they have some like on-ship cruise events, but they're all geared towards like old people, so like I genuinely don't know what the fuck to do. Guys, please give me suggestions.
So after my first cruise, here are the major things that I wish I would have known. And I was on Carnival Conquest. Number 1, you cannot check into your room until a certain time. So depending on when you get on the boat or whatever time you choose to check in, you're going to have a long waiting period before you can even go put your stuff up in your room or have access to your bags if you check your bags before you get on the boat. When you first get on the boat, things are very chaotic, and it's not a lot of people that help direct you. But keep in mind, Munster Station is going to be your first stop. Whatever it says on your boarding pass, go straight to that letter Munster Station, or try to figure out where the Munster Station is and get that out the way. Also, there are no straws on this boat. You are lip to cup if you do not bring a straw, and this includes like water, juice. Like if you don't bring your own cup, or you use or have to use their drinks or whatever, you don't get a straw unless it's a frozen drink and you get an edible straw. If you do not drink enough for the drink package, just hook up your credit card to the account and just pay for it that way. I think I had a total of 4 drinks on the cruise, and that was well underneath what I would have paid if I would have got the drink package. So I'm glad I didn't get it, because that would have been a waste of money. Also, soda's not free. Like, I realized very quickly I got motion sickness really, really bad and needed ginger ale. That was not free. It was like $3 per ginger ale, which is okay. It was still cheaper than buying the complete soda drink package. If you want things like the guys' burgers, do not go during peak time, because those lines literally can be wrapped around the damn boat trying to get things like guys' burgers or tacos or something like that. Peak times is usually when you very first get on the boat, when nobody has access to their rooms. Those lines are crazy ridiculous. So we just waited. I preferred to go dining than go to the buffet, because buffets kind of icked me out ever since COVID, but they serve the exact same food. So if you go to dinner and sit down every night, you're going to be served the same thing as if you would have went to the buffet, and you can still get as much as you want by sitting at dinner. Also, where your room matters. If you don't want to have to walk a country mile, keep that in mind, because the boat is not that you can't just walk from the front part of the boat to the back part of the boat on certain parts. So you will really have to like go up to the next floor, cross over through everything, and then get to your destination. So when booking, where your room is at does matter. We were on floor 2. Motion sickness was terrible. We heard everything. It was something I won't do. If you want a part 2, let me know.
Listen, if you want to be one of the first people on your ship, you're going to have to set your alarm for your online check-in, period. Carnival cruise tip, part 20. So I think all experienced cruisers know that if they want to get the arrival time of their choosing, they're going to have to beat out you, yes you, and everybody else on the ship to the online check-in. Online check-in with Carnival starts exactly 14 days before your ship sets sail. So exactly 14 days at midnight, that portal will open up and you can choose your arrival time. So most people that know about this will set their alarm, set a timer for 12 a.m. midnight exactly, so that way they don't miss out. Because if you wake up the next day, fall asleep, whatever, you might miss out on your arrival time. Outside of your arrival time, you will also be choosing your bedding, whether or not you want 2 separate twin beds, put them together and make it a queen bed if you're a couple. There's where you would also link your debit card or credit card or choose the cash option. You'll be picking your dining preference. So whether or not you want anytime dining, early dining, or late dining, you'll pick that there. And once everything is all said and done, you will go ahead and print your documents, your boarding pass being the most important, luggage tags if you plan on utilizing the porters. If you don't know what the porters are, go ahead to Carnival Cruise Tip Part 4 and find out. But yeah, other than that, you should be all set. So if you really are specific about whether or not you want to get on your ship early, late, or at a specific time in general, make sure you're on there exactly 14 days before your cruise starts at midnight. So that way you can beat out everybody else. So yeah, I hope this was helpful to somebody. If so, let me know down below in the comments. Drop a cruise emoji to show your girl some love and follow for more travel content. Bye!
Alright, I've heard of this cruise hack. You tell me if this is even a thing. I've heard of people going into the casino on their very first day and withdrawing a couple $1,000s onto their room card. Not spending $1, and then at the end of the cruise, they go cash that out. When they get home, they pay off the credit card. The cruise line thinks that they spent a ton of money in the casino, and they send them a lot of elite offers and cruise deals after their cruise is over. I don't know how much I can believe this because you're not accruing any player points, but maybe it works. If you've done this before, it works, let me know because this is wild to me.
Y'all, so I'm on my first cruise. I'm on Carnival Cruise, and let me tell y'all about how it's going so far. We literally just got on the boat. I'm eating a burger and some sushi. The sushi costs, but I pay whatever for some sushi. We almost missed our ship because Spirit Airlines, they delayed our flight like 3 times. Yesterday they delayed it, saying because of the weather. Okay, cool. Today they delayed it twice, and so we end up being like 10 minutes late, but they didn't leave us. Their cutoff time was 2:30. We ended up making it 2:45, and we didn't end up sailing until like just recently 4 o'clock. And like to get to the pool, you gotta go through the pool. The pool's lit. We out there, we having fun so far. The first few seconds was all hits. What you think, Lynn? This the birthday girl, y'all. We lit. I didn't get the drink package only because I'm not a heavy drinker. But I did put some money on my card just in case I want some to drink. Yeah. But mostly for sushi and extra food. What I can say is, what I can see so far, they think they sick with their gratuity. They already had the option to pay up front, but yet when you order stuff, they automatically put like 18% in there. Like, what was the point? And then try to ask for additional, but neither here nor there. Nonetheless, I know y'all be like, does she ever be in a truck? No, I be on vacation.
I just got on this damn cruise, and they going through all my freaking clothes. Got a dog here and everything.
Tips for a first-time cruiser. So this is obviously a very common scenario and a very common question, so I'll give it a full video here. I plan to cover this topic more in depth going forward, having multiple videos touching on different aspects of it to help first-time cruisers. Haven't gotten there quite yet though, so this will just be a little thing in the interim. By the way, I apologize for any background noise. I've got both my dryer and my dishwasher going at the same time. So let's just go through some of the factors that go into deciding a cruise, let alone a first cruise, and then I'll kind of run through just some information you need to know about each one. Those factors are the cruise line itself, the size/age of the ship, the itinerary, and the number of nights. The cruise line itself, there are, let's just for this purpose say there are 3 categories of cruise lines. There is the mainstream cruise lines, there's the premium cruise lines, and then there's the luxury cruise lines. You don't need to go on a luxury cruise line. You probably don't need to go on a premium cruise line. The mainstream cruise lines are plenty for a first-time cruiser, but you could splurge on a premium one if you wanted to. The mainstream ones are your Carnival, your Royal Caribbean, and your Norwegian and MSC. If you want to party, you want a party vibe, and you want a noisy cruise, you can go on Carnival. That's what they do best. Norwegian and Royal Caribbean are comparable in that they're a bit more laid back. That being said, they also appeal to families. MSC, you know what, if you're going on the first cruise, just don't go on MSC. Royal Caribbean, I think, tends to have the most upscale experience of the mainstream lines, although Norwegian is certainly creeping up there and maybe even matching it with their newest ship, but we're going to get to that in a second. The premium lines are your celebrities and your princesses. They are good if you want more of a laid-back experience. They'll cater to an older audience, there'll be less families, but of course they're also going to cost more. Don't go on a Disney cruise for your first cruise. That would probably be a nightmare. Moving on to the ship itself. So the newest, shiniest ships are probably going to be the biggest ships. And the oldest ships that are a bit long in the tooth are going to be the smallest ships. I won't get into gross tonnage or anything like that here, but I will say that really any size ship would be okay. You might want to pick a ship that was built within the last 20 years, just so that you don't suddenly have an experience that's not what you were expecting. You can absolutely have a great experience on a small ship. In fact, you probably will. And those smallest, oldest ships cater to the older audience. So if you're looking for a cruise that's more just to kick back, relax by the pool, and get some drinks, those are the great options for that. But they're also not going to have a lot of the shiny amenities, not the water slides and the zip lines and the go-kart tracks and stuff like that. That might be what you're looking for. The biggest, newest ships are going to be the most expensive, and they're going to have all of those amenities, and they're going to draw the crowds. They're also going to potentially handle the crowds well. I generally recommend you meet in the middle. Go for a mid-sized ship. Those will have not as many, families and stuff, because they're not going to have as much for families to do. They're also going to still have stuff for families to do. And they're going to be, very nicely upkept. To be clear, most of the ships are very nicely kept up. The itineraries. This one's pretty easy, honestly, for a first-time cruiser. Just go to a Caribbean cruise. Do a Eastern or Western Caribbean cruise. That's where the cruise lines also tend to have their private destinations, their private islands and whatnot. And those are a pretty good space to stop on a first cruise as well. There are plenty of itineraries to choose from. All of the American-based cruise lines go to those itineraries. They're fairly affordable. It's just a good option, right? Maybe avoid the Alaska cruise. It's a bucket list cruise. Definitely a nice one to do, but not great for your first one. Unless you, live in Europe and it's your only option, I probably wouldn't take, a Mediterranean cruise for your first cruise. That sounds like it could potentially be a nightmare. Finally, the number of nights. I generally say do at least bare minimum a 5-night cruise for your first cruise. If you go too short, like a 3 or a 4-night cruise, you're going to find that you're frantically trying to squeeze stuff in and that you don't get to experience it all, and it might just be more stressful than you need. You don't need to go too long either. Like a 9 or more night cruise, probably too much. Just for future reference, the standard, considered, quote, full-length cruise is a 7-night cruise. So a 6 to an 8-night cruise is straddling that. Those are totally fine. Plenty of time. My last one was a 6-night cruise, and, I always wish it was longer. But I didn't leave thinking I, missed a bunch of stuff. And if you're worried about, if I'm there for 7 nights, what if I feel trapped and, I'm not going to be able to get off? That's just simply not the case. That's a myth at this point. Speaking of myths, I guess in a little bonus thing here, most people don't get seasick on cruises.
I just came from a Carnival cruise and I just booked my next one for January. So let me tell you the things that I would do and I wouldn't do again. Get the damn drink package. I don't want to hear nothing about, I can just carry my cup. I can just carry it. You're not going to feel like carrying that cup all the way 10 floors up, 10 floors down, through the elevator, through the other side of the cruise. You're not going to feel like doing it. So get the drink package. That way you could just get you a drink and then drink your drink and carry it through the ship. I don't know about y'all, but I just found out I like to gamble. I like to gamble. I would bring more cash specifically for gambling. Not overall cash. No, I need a specific budget just to gamble. I'm only booking one excursion per 6-day cruise. I'm not playing no games. I was so tired after ATV, ziplining, and cave tubing. I was so tired. Feet was hurt. We had to hike up a motherfucking mountain. For the days that you don't have an excursion, try to have something planned at that port. So if you're going to Cozumel, go to Mr. Sancho's. Make sure you already have it pre-booked or whatever, and you'll be good. Bring some extra cash for the things at port too, because that stuff be cheaper than it is over here. Like, you can get tramadol and all this other stuff that you need a prescription for in the U.S. You can get it cheaper in Mexico. Let me know if y'all want part 2, because I got a lot of tips back.
We're back. So, the long awaited review of our newest cruise that we just took, which was on the Celebrity Infinity, back in November when we did Spain, Canary Islands, and Morocco. The reason why we've taken so long to do this review is because we were hoping that Celebrity would do the right thing, and they haven't, so now we thought we'd do an honest review. Let us preference that this was our very first cruise with Celebrity. We've done almost every other cruise line out there, and we wanted to give Celebrity a try. So let's just preference is that this was an older, very small ship. I'm not saying this accounts for all Celebrity as a whole, but the reason why we're making this review is because we're really upset with the customer service that we received from it.
Quite frankly, the whole experience was just bad. I know you guys saw our videos and I kept talking about how, you know, the food wasn't great. The trip in itself was just it was horrible, if I'm going to be honest. And this is just maybe a way for you guys to do your research prior to booking this specific cruise.
So we didn't want to say that it was all horrible. That's why Frankie posted the last video of our amazing specialty dining night. That was a lot of fun. But now let's get into our review. So let us preference again. This was the Celebrity Infinity. It was a very small, older ship. And this was one of the most expensive cruises we've ever taken. And we're just going to show you some photos first. So the first, wait, hold on. The first thing is when we check into our stateroom, it was absolutely disgusting. And so we immediately went down to customer service and we were very nice and polite about it. And I just said, I hate to be that person, but are we able to change rooms? I said, our room is not in the best condition. She said, well, what's wrong with it? I showed her photos, and once again, customer service with her, she was fabulous. She said, oh, that is absolutely unacceptable. I'm calling my manager right now. Can you please go meet him in your room to show him? I said, absolutely. He saw our room. He agreed that it was unacceptable and asked us if we could leave the room for 2 hours so they could do a deep clean. Now, these are photos before the deep clean and after the deep clean. So here we go. Here is a photo of our bathroom floor. If you guys can see that, completely covered in mold. Here's another one. Another one. Our beautiful toilet that was not only stained black inside the toilet, but as you can see, the toilet seat cover is completely stained as well. Our stained walls.
Who knows what in the world that
stained
was.
walls. Our ripped bed skirting. Our stained bed skirting. Our stained and filthy non-vacuumed carpet, our moldy light fixture, our balcony that Frankie had to go get a wet cloth because it was absolutely disgusting to even put your elbows on it, our rusty balcony floor, and then the best one, our corroding balcony. And after leaving the room for 2 hours for them to do a deep clean, do you want to see the after photos? They're the same photos. The only thing that was better was the carpet did look about 10 times better because they steam cleaned the carpet. The bathroom smelled like bleach, but none of those moldy stains got out. So every day I'd have our room attendant bring me an extra towel to put on the floor because it was absolutely disgusting, smelly. We're trying not to be too picky here, but we have a video of our bathroom door never being able to close, so it just rattled.
That was annoying.
The entire trip. They could not move us because it was a completely sold out cruise. They said for us to give it 3 days until we got to the first port, and then they would let us know if they would be able to move us. We waited till the first port. They could never move us. So we were stuck in that room for 14 days on a trip from a room is going to make or break your trip, right? So let's get back to just the overall experience. So they did nothing for us for our room except for give us a free specialty dining night, and they thought that was going to make up for our disgusting conditions of our room. And they were never able to clean the toilet properly because it was completely stained with the black. They never changed out our bed skirting. They never wiped down the walls. The only thing that we really noticed that they took care of was the carpet. But other than that, that's what we lived in for 2 weeks. Like I said, one of the most expensive cruises we've ever taken. And then we were booked on anytime dining. There was only one main dining hall besides the buffet on that ship. And every night we could not get a reservation and get in. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to go down there, put our name in, and they'd give us a little buzzer, and it would be anywhere between an hour and an hour and a half wait to get a table. So we ate in the main dining hall only twice.
But even then, the food at the dining hall was god awful. Like, it was the worst food I've ever had. I had like this basil goat cheese pasta. I don't know what or how they made it, but the food was horrible. The entertainment on board was also very... There was no entertainment. None. There was like 3 shows that circulated the whole 12 days. And you think, as long as... if the room was horrible, okay, fine. But as long as there was entertainment on board, that would have been better. Literally, all we would do was go to the library, and we worked on maybe 6 puzzles. And... that's about it. So that's pretty much our review of the cruise. It was just a very small old ship that we could never get into the main dining hall. Our room was absolutely disgusting. There was no onboard activities, and we weren't the only ones feeling this way. We met a lot of people on the cruise, and I'm not kidding. Every single person that we encountered. If any of you are following us on TikTok and would like to comment below, please do. But everybody on that ship kind of had the same feelings. And there were a lot of people that did a turnaround trip, which means they were on that boat for 30 days. And we were just in shock of how they could do it. Now, they told us that this was a refurbished ship, so we got all excited. We were told, even our travel agent was told, that it is a completely refurbished ship. What they meant by that was the first 3 decks, which are where all of the lounges and bars are, were completely refurbished, and they were gorgeous and beautiful. Everything from the staterooms up to the upper decks, to the buffet, to the pool decks, everything, none of that has been touched. And so it was a very old ship, and in my opinion, should go to the scrapyard. That's just my opinion. If you're going to be spending a lot of money to go on these type of cruises, I don't think that it's fair to have those kind of conditions. So that's our honest review. We were hoping Celebrity would make it right and do something about it. After our travel agent has complained and showed them the photos and we complained, the only thing they were willing to offer us was a $100 onboard cruise credit that we have to use this year. We're like, we are not going to go.
And we said that's not going to make up for our horrible experience on your ship for 14 days. And that is all they had to offer, was a $100 future onboard credit that we have to use within the next year.
And I think really this is all just to do your research, guys. And I know some people might like a small ship where there's, it's more relaxed, it's slower paced. For us, though, we like the big ships with a lot of activities. Like, we want to make sure that we're having good food, good bars to hang out to at all. I think they only had 3-4 bars on board. I don't know.
But once again, the staff, the serving staff, the bartending staff, even our and the poor guy, our room attendant, were all amazing. They really were. And, it's not his fault that they don't regrout the bathroom floors and stuff. So, but long story short, we were not happy with Celebrity. This is why I'm sure you guys felt it in our videos that it was not the best trip for us. And like I said, it was the most expensive cruise. And you guys know we do a lot of cruises. It was the most expensive cruise because we did our flights as well through Celebrity, so they got a big amount of our money, and they didn't do anything to kind of rectify that kind of a experience for us. So, long story short, we would not recommend the Celebrity Infinity cruise to Spain, Morocco, and Canary Islands.
Transparency builds trust, so I'm going to keep it 100 as always. let's get started. I felt like the Embassy Cruise charges for everything individually. Let me explain. So we had booked the State Aria room, which included a jacuzzi, which that means because it was one of the fancier rooms, we basically had access to the drink package. So we didn't have to buy an extra drink package. It was just included with the room. However, if we didn't have that included, we would have had to pay for bottled water, which I found a little bit stingy because it's water we're talking about. Like, why are we charging for water? So it was my very first time on a cruise, and I wasn't aware of the ins and outs of specialty dining. So the first thing that happened when I went on the actual cruise, somebody was trying to sell me specialty dining, and I was a little bit confused because I went on the cruise thinking that cruises were like all-inclusive resorts. But to my surprise, in Embassy Seashore, you have to pay extra for specialty dining. I spoke with a person who's been on Royal, and they told me that it's included. Anyways, on Embassy Seashore, you have to pay extra. I was not a big fan of the drinks. They were very watered down, and the frozen ones just tasted like juice. Like, I didn't feel like I was getting alcohol. Mind you, I don't even drink that much, but if I would have paid extra for the drink package, that would have been really disappointing. The food was not that great. In my opinion, I thought it was very bland, but then again, the Embassy Cruise Line is Italian, so they may be on the healthier side, but we loved the pizzas. The pizzas were amazing. Hope this helps. Bye.
Okay, so my husband and I just got back from our first MSC cruise, and it's gonna be the last MSC cruise. I am never cruising with them again. It was so bad and chaotic and frustrating. The passengers were so rude. So rude. I have never seen this before. It was like a normal thing for them to just be rude to everyone. And like, if you're in line, lines apparently don't exist. They will just get in front of you, even though you've been there before them, and it's obvious that you've been there before them. They'll just get in front of you. Very unclean. I never saw anyone wash their hands, even in the bathroom. It was nasty. No one washed their hands before the buffet. They would even drop food on the ground and put it back on the buffet. Like, if they dropped a roll on the ground, they would pick it up and put it back on the buffet. Or if they dropped tongs on the floor, they'd pick it up and put it back on the food, which is, I have never seen that before. I have been cruising for 20 years, okay? Over 20 years. I've been on Royal Caribbean. My main cruise is Royal Caribbean. I've been on Disney, and I've been on Norwegian. I've never seen anything like this before. Like, I was just amazed. And a woman also changed her baby in the pool, okay? In the pool. No one who works there did anything about it. It's like, you're joking, right? This, oh my god. I don't know what to even think about that. And then the people who work there were kind of rude too. Like, I would tell them, you know, I don't drink alcohol, and they'd keep trying to push alcohol on me, which is a sober person, is really frustrating. And I know they're trying to sell drink packages and stuff, but it's just like, if I tell you once, I don't have to tell you again, right? If I tell you I don't want alcohol, I don't want alcohol. Stop pushing it on me. It got so frustrating. And the food was just so nasty. It was some of the most disgusting food I've ever had in my life. It was all tasteless. Like, it literally did not taste like anything. One night I had like pasta, like an Alfredo pasta, and then I had like a chocolate tart for dessert, and they tasted the exact same. Isn't that weird? So I don't know, I just like, I can't think of one good thing about this cruise. The entertainment was okay, but I'm not taking a cruise for, you know, the like shows and stuff. But it was so bad. It was so bad. And like, we were supposed to have like $500 or $600 in credits, and they're like, oh, we can't find your credits, but here's 150, and like, that's it. Even though we showed them the email, they're like, oh, that's all we can give you. So I'm out of time, but I can make like a part 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever.
Come with me on my first cruise to the Bahamas. This is me walking out the door, checking myself out. This is the ship that I thought was going to be big, you know. This is me walking up the stairs, hella stairs. This is my first meal. They did all that breaking about these burgers and tacos. That shit was nasty as fuck. And then this is me showing y'all this old ass ship. And this is this boring ass show
when I'm doing a little cha-cha-cha. And this is me showing y'all what I look like the next day. This is one of the shows. This is some more food I ate. It was breakfast time. Shit was nasty as fuck. Here goes some a Mexican burrito or some shit. That shit was nasty. Nasty as fuck. Awesome. I forgot what that was. I don't remember eating that shit. Oh, yeah. Very nasty. Just more food. This is us walking to the snorkeling. This day I messed up my hair real bad. Yeah. But yeah, this is me showing y'all what I look like. This is us riding on a boat. And this is the red ship. We was not able to touch the red ship, but this is what the ship looked like. My boyfriend was getting very upset because the guys was flirting with me. But yeah, this is me checking myself out again. Look at my lip, fucked up. But yeah, that's my hair, fucked up. There goes some rum that did not get us drunk. And this is us on the go-karts riding through the city. He was mad as fuck at me. But yeah. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish recording.
So I hate cruises. And somehow I got stuck on cruise TikTok, where every other video I see is someone on a cruise having a lovely time. And I will never ever set foot on a cruise ever again. Let me tell you why. So I've been on 2 cruises in my life. I went on a Carnival cruise, which was something else. And I also went on a Royal Caribbean cruise, one of the newer ships, to kind of give it another try. Both absolute disaster, hated every minute of it. Let me explain. I think the biggest issue for me about being on a cruise is the feeling of entrapment. So the idea that I was in the middle of the ocean, I couldn't go anywhere, and I was several days from being able to set foot on land made me insanely anxious. And some of you might say, like, well, obviously, it's not, like, obviously you're in the middle of the ocean, like, what do you think was going to happen? I don't know. I just thought it would be better. The other thing that no one talks about is everyone makes this big fuss about getting a balcony cabin, but when it's nighttime, you can't see anything, just miles and miles and miles of black and darkness, and it's actually really scary and unsettling. And you can hear the water sloshing around everywhere. Not fun at all. The Carnival cruise I took was basically like Nashville or shit Vegas. It was disgusting. It was dirty. Everyone was there to party. I don't know what I was thinking taking a Carnival cruise, because now I know better. It was like 10 years ago. Now I know better. I wouldn't dream of it. I realise it doesn't have a good reputation. But it was filthy. Even just finding somewhere to eat. Oh, no. Royal Caribbean was slightly higher end, and it was a new ship at the time. I think it was the Allure of the Seas. It had a Starbucks, it felt like really modern, and I thought, okay, maybe a better ship is the way forward. No, it absolutely wasn't. It was like staying in Butlins or a really low-end, all-inclusive restaurant in disguise on this massive cruise ship. The other reason why cruises are not suitable for me is because I don't want to sit with strangers at dinner. And if you sit down at the formal dinner and there's just 2 of you, another time it was me and my ex-husband, or husband then, they make you sit with random strangers. I don't want to have my dinner every night with random strangers. It's super weird. And this whole dressing up thing to go to dinner on a cruise ship, no, it's just weird. I don't want someone to tell me how to dress every night. I want to wear shorts and t-shirts. It's just not for me. And last but not least, the Wi-Fi. No, I need a...
So cruises are great until you go on the MSC Virtuosa. It's definitely way overcrowded. I mean, look at the corridor here. It's absolutely ram-packed, shoulder to shoulder full of people. So you think, oh, instead of going down that corridor, I'll go for a nice meal. Nope, the meals are bland. You only get one meal time in the main dining rooms, which ours was 5:45, and only one dining room is available for us to go down and eat at. And then when you go to the buffet, because there's nothing on the menu at the main restaurants, you go to the buffet and it's again bland food. It's like this, the desserts or the chocolate and the cakes is all taste like they don't use sugar. There's nothing sweet, even the meringue just tastes like polystyrene. Oh my god, it must be the worst cruise we've ever been on.
From the Norwegian Warriors. But the fact of the matter is, I just didn't have a good experience. For starters, let's talk about the stateroom. The layout on this ship was extremely weird. The shower and the toilet were separated, and the sink was not connected to either one. They were separated from the rest of the room by a curtain, but that means if somebody came into the room from the outside while you were in the bathroom, that would make for a very awkward time. We also were like extremely allergic to the stateroom, which I've never had an issue with before. Next, let's talk about the nightlife. Never have I ever been on a ship where the nightclub closes down early. Like, I'm talking closes at 12:30 because nobody is there. Next, this was the most disorganized ship I've ever been on in my life. Like, we'll get into it more when I talk about disembarkation, but like the whole ship was just a big free-for-all. Most of the wait staff and crew were not very engaging, but they also had done back-to-back ships, so I like to keep that in mind. My cabin stewardess really had an attitude for most of the time, but luckily the stewardess next door was very helpful, and obviously we gave her a very nice tip for going out of her way to make sure that we had a great time. There was also a host for the main dining room that was very disrespectful, and lucky us, we got to see him every single day that we were on the cruise ship. Literally everything was an upsell. And like, I could see if you're paying for better quality, for more efficiency, but literally the things that you had to pay for on this ship were not worth it. And they were extremely overpriced for the quality that you were getting. The excursions were double and triple the price of other cruise lines I've been on. And y'all know that all cruise lines already jack up the price of excursions as is, so that's insane. Woo, child, let's talk about disembarkation. When I tell y'all we were given no instructions, no directions on where to go, the process, nothing until the morning of, and it was absolute and utter chaos. Everyone was being given different directions. They just kept calling other disembarkation letters, even though we were all in like a big standstill for hours. People were being sent into the middle of the line. Nobody knew where they were going. Everybody was being told different directions. It was ridiculous. Honestly, I had really high expectations for Norwegian just because everybody talks about how upscale it is. I've never been on a ship where I wanted to leave before the vacation was over, but it's giving.
Passengers on a cruise ship said they feared a Titanic-like fate when their vessel was hit by a storm.
My heart was racing, and I think everyone around us was also, there was a lot of screaming going on.
Royal Caribbean's Explorer was off the coast of Africa when it was hit with wind gusts jumping to over 80 miles per hour. Passengers who were expecting a relaxing cruise were left terrified as they struggled to move around the deck.
You could hear all the glass dropping from the bar and breaking. They had a grand piano that flew across the stage.
After the storm, the ship was forced to make an unscheduled stop to help an injured passenger and repair damage.
Get down on the floor, safer.
This is the terrifying moment passengers sit in their life jackets as enormous 70-foot waves smash into a stranded cruise in the North Sea.
That's the chair. Lie down.
The vessel was a Norwegian ship that takes tourists along stretches of the coastline where larger traditional boats can't reach. However, the enormous waves caused by Storm Pia made the boat malfunction and left the passengers stranded. The panic-stricken people desperately hold onto chairs and tables as the boat sways. As a result, the tour was cut short to avoid the storm, but strong winds caught up to them, causing tall waves to wipe out the ship's power. Despite the treacherous conditions, thankfully only one person was injured.
So our neighbors over here, I don't know if you can see right there, they have a hot tub on their balcony because it's one of the suites here on the ship. I think they might have gone a little cray-cray on the bubble bath because it is all over our balcony. It looks like snow, or actually no, whipped cream. I'm gonna call it whipped cream. Look, I don't know if they know that it's getting so all over the place.
Okay, so we definitely had a good laugh, but you guys, if you have a jacuzzi on your balcony, just take it easy on the bubble bath.
Never have I seen this before in 20 years of cruising.